So I was a little late to this story. I was going to talk about how The Last of Us Remake had some footage and images leaked over the past 2-3 days. But now I don't have to. I don't have to skate around these leaked images and footage because, Naughty Dog, copyright strikes, everything. I can just talk about this trailer they put out for Damage Control, it seemed. It was really convenient timing. Day after everything leaks, day of this footage leak, they release this trailer at night, at a time they normally wouldn't release it. And it's a gameplay and features trailer with Neil Druckmann and some other guy, I don't know his name, Sean Skagg. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this guy. And they're going over how different this is from the remaster and even the original. But there's really not, and it's been a huge controversy. It's kind of like The Last of Us Part 2 controversy, but obviously over different things. But if you look at the changes that they made, it's really not all that different. Graphically, yes, it's a lot better. But if you look at some of the changes they made, it's really not all that different. I mean, yes, graphics look a lot better, but at the same time, the character models, in my opinion, look worse. Graphically, they're better, but the character models themselves look much worse, in my opinion. So this is the main character model I want to focus on. I will show you Joel and Ellie as well, but this one is the one that bothered me the most. Yes, graphically they look much better, obviously, but Tess looks like she's aged 15 to 20 years. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but she just looks much older than she does in the original. This is a PS3 image on the left. So then we'll go to Joel. Same thing, he looks a lot older. He looks maybe 10 years older, just looks grayer and has more wrinkles, I think. And then we'll go to Ellie here. The cuts are just specific to this image they used, but she looks really sweet and innocent in this left image from the PS4. This remake, quote-unquote, version, she just doesn't look as innocent in this. I think the freckles are definitely more prominent. I think she looks more like she would grow up to be that Last of Us 2 character model than the original, because when I first saw her character model for The Last of Us Part 2, I was like, no way, this one on the left here grew up to look like that. I just think they kind of uglified her in that. And I think everybody here is kind of the same thing. I think they kind of uglified everybody, especially Tess. Joel, they just made look a little older, like I said. Not necessarily uglified, but even in The Last of Us Part 2, again, when they did the flashbacks, he looks a lot younger than this. I don't know why they made him look almost like The Last of Us Part 2 Joel. Just looks a little younger than that one. Just really odd why they'd go with this. But it's not just the character models. They were talking about how this is rebuilt from the ground up for PlayStation 5, and I don't know where it is, but they replied to somebody on Twitter saying that the combat was rebuilt, and they've talked about how this combat was so different in other places. But when you look at it, it's really not. There's this comparison video. It's a Spanish channel, but it has Spanish and English on the right. It's showing comparisons of animations and combat. Now, they put it in a more positive light, but I don't think there's much of a difference here. But let's look at this. First of all, I mean, already just looking at it, paused here. The character model's different. This got a black guy right here. This guy looks more Hispanic. I don't know why they did that, but just looking at the character models, they bragged about how the animations were different. Just looking at the first one, just kind of moved his arms a little bit more. I mean, it's just like just looking at that, there's barely a difference. Just the arms moved a bit more. Go to this one. I think this is 60 FPS and this is 30. If I had to guess, moving a lot slower. The plank isn't wobbling as much. There's that. And he's kind of bent over a little more when he's laying it down. Sure, I guess that's more realistic. Then look at that. This is just a little quicker. Here's a little bit of combat. It's really not much of a difference. Just doesn't have the arc here. It's the same, basically the same drawback animation, but just not this arc. And she runs a little differently, and she's holding the bow in one hand, but at the same time, it didn't really look like she was in combat mode, but I'm not sure. Here they are, just showing different facial expressions. I guess that's an improvement. And then talk about physics here. Rewind it to get the full look. That's the original. Okay. Like, the glass shatters. Okay. That, I mean, looks more realistic. Great. There's updated physics. Like, there's more shattering. Is that cement, I guess? The cement column here shattering, whereas the other one, it wasn't really doing much of anything. But this is stuff the GTA 5 remaster that released at towards the beginning of this year did. It's not a remake thing, really. It's just a remaster thing. But at the same time, GTA 5 remaster wasn't as significant of a graphics jump, but it did stuff with the physics and animations as well. Like with the explosions and fires and more stuff breaking when it's supposed to. It's just not impressive, and especially when you're selling this for $70. It's just really a disappointment. This should just be a PS5 remaster for, like, I guess it would be $50 for PS5 now, a remaster. But even at $50, I wouldn't get this. I mean, I think it should be priced at $40 probably. But even at, I mean, this should be priced at $40 probably, but with the PS5 price jump, it would be $50. But I wouldn't buy it for that even, $40 or $50. I'd wait for a sale when it's on sale for like $10-$20. Like GTA 5 remaster is $19.99 a lot now. I consider getting it a lot, but I've never pulled the trigger on it even then. I'd do the same thing with this. And how much do you want to bet the change they make in the story, if they make any changes, how much do you want to bet that they're going to add Abby into this? Or at least a reference, like when Joel is about to kill the guy, he'll say, "Please, I have a family," or something like that. Or maybe they just add a scene with Abby, like, finding him. I think they did that in Last of Us Part 2. There was a flashback where she found his body. I don't remember, but add something like that. Or somebody telling her. I don't remember exactly what they did in the Last of Us Part 2. But kind of add that to that. But I feel like they're going to add something at least in reference to Abby. I feel like they just want to tie this game more to Last of Us Part 2 in that aspect. Because Last of Us Part 2 felt very detached from Part 1. It, like, Abby just came out of nowhere, and you're like, where did she come from? There was no reference to her at all. Just a cash grab. It's just a cash grab. There's no reason this should be $70. There's no reason that this should be called a remake, considering, unless they add that Abby aspect I just talked about, I don't think there's any changes to the story other than that. Although, I wouldn't be surprised, considering all this political correct and woke crap, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut out that one scene in the car where she's reading the book that she stole from, what was his name? I don't remember the guy's name. Sam, maybe? I don't remember his name, but stole from that guy, and she made a joke about him being gay. She's like, why is it sticky? I wouldn't be surprised if they cut that out, although I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's bad at all, but just maybe in their minds, maybe even though it was 2013 when the game released, maybe they think it's outdated. I don't know. But again, I mean, I just remembered as well that there's no multiplayer attached to this. So $70 for this, $10 more than the original game, is absurd. Charge even full price $60 for it is ridiculous. Like I said, it should be like $40. It just feels like to me that they think they can just do anything with The Last of Us, no matter how much of a cash grab it is, how lazy it is, and they think people will just eat it up. And Dreamcast guy did a poll on his Twitter, and 35.8% said they're buying it day one. 27.1% said waiting for a sale, so put that together, that's about 63%, 62.9%. And then 37.1% said screw this cash grab. And 3 years ago, before The Last of Us Part 2 release, this would be a lot lower, I think. Regardless of how lazy this remake was, I think it would be a lot lower. I mean, like probably halved. I don't know. But 3 years ago, this wouldn't be this high. I think Last of Us 2 lost them a lot of goodwill at the Summer Games Fest. Neil Druckmann mentioned that it had just passed 10 million units or copies sold, and Ghost of Tsushima has sold almost 10 million, 9.74 million they just announced, I think earlier in the week or late last week. So Ghost of Tsushima is catching up to that. So for a sequel to what is widely considered one of the greatest games of all time to sell almost 50% less than the first game and be just barely ahead of Ghost of Tsushima, or being close to it, is really bad sign for them. And this remake really doesn't help either. I'm not saying it's the downfall of Naughty Dog or anything, but I mean, if they keep going the route they did with The Last of Us Part 2, then you could see a decline. But personally, I'm not gonna get this day one. I voted screw this cash grab, but I might wait for a sale. But if they put anything Abby in there, I'm not gonna get this. But let me know what you think about this remake. Let me know what you would vote on this poll if you're gonna get it day one, wait for a sale, or just screw the cash grab, you're not gonna get it. What do you think about these comparisons and how little of a difference there seems to be other than the graphical upgrade? But like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, comment, share. And I have another channel called The Thoughtful Outlaw Sports where I talk about mostly baseball, basketball, and football, but talk about anything sports related I'm interested in. So check that out if you're interested in sports, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.